Hey, it's Justin from Deprogrammed. Do you like to talk about your favorite bands with your friends? Yeah, well, me too. Tune in every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. to hear us do just that. Only on our station, Radio Free Radio, RadioFradio.com.
Hey y'all, this is Ron Dale Martin Jr. and I gotta tell you, man, this Radio Free Radio thing is quite awesome. And since I spent all my money on steering wheel covers and Marlboros, I need you guys to donate $1 over at Patreon. That site is patreon.com/Radio Free Radio. If you ain't heard about it, you need to get on over there and give your $1. On RadioFradio.com.
Take 16.
It's the chocolate milk and waffle show. Yeah.
Oh yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Let's get it on. Who are these guys? It's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.
Hey, welcome in, here on Radio for Radio, go tell a friend. Went to Maryland, Georgia, bring them in. We got so many things to talk about, so let's begin. Putting the highlight on local life on Thursdays, 8 at night. Hope you feeling alright, cause tonight we gon' get you right, yeah, show you right. We gon' laugh, joke, talk, rinse, repeat. We gon' keep it real chill, plus get deep. Ain't no topic off limits, no knock off a gimmick. 10 times out of 9, you'll be fine when we finish. We get talented, hard to get artists to target that audience. Talk accomplishments of those who get no acknowledgement. The studio be hot in the summertime, studio be cold in the winter. And though the chair a bit dusty, it be a throne when we enter. Have a seat with us, chocolate milk and waffles, come and eat with us. 2 whole hours, turn your speakers up. And before we get it started, just repeat it thus. It's on chocolate milk and waffle show. It's the chocolate milk and waffle show. We got the George, we got Terrell, we got milk, that's chocolate. We got beautiful buttery waffles, just the way your mama used to make them.
Crazy, crazy, crazy show. That's what it is. Okay, whatever. I can't.
Hello, Internet. You are here with the Chocolate Milk and Waffle Show. As of right now, it is just chocolate milk, but we will have our entree shortly. He is on the way from conducting his, fatherly duties this week. His son had a event that he was performing at the school. So Terrell will be with us shortly. But in the meantime, a couple of quick announcements going on in the area. Of course, we have our weekly open mic over at the venue on Mondays from 7 to 11, $3 at the door. It is a true open mic. If you had a bad day, come out. Everybody gets their fair share of time on the microphone. We also have Dee Dee Delaney's Concise Christmas Carol playing tomorrow night and Saturday at the venue. It is a 1 hour and a half long one-man show where Dee Dee Delaney plays both. I was about to say both. 22 different characters. I was about to downplay it quite a bit. He plays all 22 characters in a Dickens Christmas Carol, and it is an amazing, amazing night of storytelling and Yuletide cheer. Tomorrow night at 7, and then again on Saturday at 5 p.m. And those will be the only 2 showings this year at the venue. I think that about covers what we've got going on. There is no feature Sunday this month, as Christmas is the last Sunday in December this year. And we will be returning with feature Sundays under a new name and new day in January. We'll be moving it to the last Friday of the month, and we will be creatively changing the name to Feature Fridays, because that's just mind-blowingly creative and dynamic. Wah, wah, wah.
Alliteration.
But with that, we are we're really excited to launch some new programming next year at the venue, so stay tuned for all of that. But we are here with Xavier Rodriguez. Good day, sir.
How's it going,
Good,
Xavier
good.
Rodriguez?
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for the invite. Oh, my gosh, this was goals. You have no idea. Like, I'm actually so excited. I feel like, oh, man, when you first said, guys, he invited me last month, and because of my job, I couldn't. And then he invited me this month, and I did like a literal. Actually, I didn't even get the shift covered until like 2 days ago. I was just like, yeah, I'll do it. And then this dude was like, it doesn't matter. I got it covered. I told him, I was like, yo, if I don't get it covered, I'm just gonna leave. Like, I'm just gonna leave in the middle of my shift. Like,
well, we would have worked something out, obviously.
Oh yeah, we'd have worked out me walking out of my store, getting in the car. I'd have probably got here at the exact same time, 8:05, 8:10, and sat down and dealt with things later. So glad I got it. I hope my job ain't listening. And if you are, I got it covered anyway. You can't say nothing, but yeah, so we good.
Good. So let's talk a little bit about you, Xavier. You do quite a few things. You just kind of popped up on the local scene at least to us, it seemed like out of nowhere. You're an incredibly gifted writer. You're very much a hip hop head, and for those of you listening at home who are regulars to the Chocolate Milk and Waffle Show, you know there is no rhyme or reason to our show. We don't fuck formats. We don't do that shit. So
That format shit, we don't
imagine that we're at home with a big old fat L, chilling on the couch, watching some mid 90s cartoons on repeat. Yeah.
A little bit later for me because I'm a little younger than these cats. I'm gonna say Samurai Jack.
I love Samurai Jack.
You know what I'm saying?
You know that's supposed to be coming back.
I know, and it's gonna be on Adult Swim, and he's gonna be chopping niggas' heads off. They're gonna have blood and everything.
I'm excited for that.
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, Samurai Jack was a dope show.
Samurai Jack.
So let's talk a little bit about your artistry first. Let's dig into that. How long have you been writing?
I'm sorry, I'm geeking. I've never had anything I've done described as artistry. Like, so
That's funny.
It's actually really exciting. Like, I just be talking and shit. But, I mean, I've been talking my whole life. Actually, you know what? I didn't talk until actually later to really break it down. I didn't talk until way later. My mom used to tell me how quiet I was. I almost got kidnapped at the mall, and I just let the guy almost just take me because I didn't say anything. I mean, like, I was struggling against him, but like I wasn't saying anything. I didn't panic or anything. Yeah, so I didn't talk until I was like 5 or 6. So
wow.
And then even then, I used to have all kinds of communication problems growing up, so I never really talked.
Well, neither did Einstein.
Yeah. Einstein is a
Einstein couldn't even tie his shoes.
Really? Oh, I learned how to tie my shoes. Taught myself how to read too, because I was like, I was in my head a lot growing up, as I can say. So, really learning poetry or learning anything else, I really just like words a whole lot. Like I've always been able to write poetry. I've been, little stuff for school, stuff for my church. I was really active still active in my church. I'm really active in my church. So I've done most of what I did. I kind of started for a church at church, because that church is like, if you a participant, you also part of the staff. You know what I'm saying? So like you get like labor and stuff. So everything I know how to do with theater, performance, emceeing, and I mean that as far as like emceeing an event is in like literally expediting things and ushering. I started at church, so everything kind of coalesced into me. It's not like I started. It's kind of just everything kind of. I've always been this, and it's been adding on as I went.
So how has your life experiences molded your writing as you've grown?
It's really. Obviously, I just to put the elephant in the. I used to have cancer survivor. Stuff. I grew up kind of in a low income stuff like that. So I've kind of gone through a lot, but I never really considered what I went through a struggle, because it was always just my life that I did. It was just always my life. So I never really. So I'm not even going to say like my life experiences shaped it. It's just how I dealt with them, how I learned how to experience my emotion and explain my emotion.
So it's more the art as a catharsis to the experiences you were going
like
through.
I write almost nothing about cancer or being broke.
Right, I've never heard. I've heard you bring it up, but I've never heard any of it in your writing.
Yeah, I usually write what like I'm observing or like stuff. Or actually, you know what? I didn't even write what I was feeling until recently. I used to just pick a topic and write about that, because I approached writing as a poetry as a writing topic.
Okay.
So I used to write stories for my friends. I wrote some fan fiction for people that liked stuff that I talked about. I've always been writing in some capacity. I used to write I still write college papers for kids. Hashtag hit me up. Because I need that dough. But I've always been writing. So when I was like, I'm going to do poetry, I would like really break stuff down as a writing. But then as I really started diving into myself and how my love language and my emotional connections and how, I perceive how I feel. Growing up as a man, really, you just started to really look and examine yourself.
Yeah.
And in that, I started to consider my poet phase, where I became like not a guy who did poetry, but really just like expressing myself through.
Do you feel you've developed your writing voice?
Yes, that's actually when I really finally realized I did that. I was excited. Most of my poems.
What was that moment for you then? Like, do you remember specifically when you were like, "Yo, I have a style"?
It started actually. I used to write. I performed at Last Tuesdays 2 or 3 times a couple years ago. That's kind of my first outing in the poet forum.
No shit. Last Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm. last Tuesdays. So I know
that's how he started. That's funny.
I know Steph Love. Well, I mean, I got in like through the back door. Like my manager is Shane Saucy and Monko. He is one of the team. Like he's one of the people.
Oh, I know
runs.
Shane.
And he knew my dad. So so he was just like I performed at my church. I showed him my video at work one day, and he was like, "Yeah, you should totally perform." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So then, I met Steph Love. I met all of those folks. Because Shane was kind of like my mentor, sort of. So I met them as like family as opposed to. So I got in real close. So for me going to last Tuesdays was like really, really dope. So like,
yeah, it's a big
really,
deal.
Yeah. So
I remember when I first started doing poetry around here, like the big ones were Verses and Vibes, and Last Tuesdays, and Mike Fiend that Godchild did. But Mike Fiend, like whereas Verses and Vibes and Last Tuesdays were monthly, Mike Fiend was like maybe every 4 months. Wow. It was just this thing that he pops up every once in a while. He just throws together these dope ass shows.
Bash.
So, I made it a goal. I wanted to be featured on each of those. Dang. And at the time, the venue didn't have, like our response to that was Feature Sunday. But we didn't have that at the time. So I was, hosting the open mic and networking and just trying to get my hands into as much of the community as I could. So I remember exactly where I was when I got the message from Steph Love asking me to do Last Tuesdays for the first time. Like Glow Shines gave me my first feature ever. And then, I will never, ever forget when I got the message from Steph Love, because we were walking home. You know where I live, and the Funny Bone's right across the street. Elsa and Joel were graduating from comedy school, so a whole bunch of us from the venue went up there to kind of, just support them and all that good shit. On the way walking back, I got the message from Steph Love saying, "Hey, we'd like you to be in, Last Tuesdays." Da, 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 da. But they actually call me the Jinx now because every time they book me, they have to cancel it because of weather. Twice they've had to cancel
George
it.
George the Jinx. Alliteration ain't nothing to fuck
Once
with.
It was snow, and I think once it might have been a hurricane, if I'm not mistaken. Steph Love can tell you better than I can. But in any case, so you did Last Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Is this when it was at 45 degrees?
Yeah, it was when it was at 45 degrees. This is a couple years ago. Honestly, I feel bad for every piece I ever performed at Last Tuesdays. And honestly, looking back, they're not bad. They're not. It's just I have a really high standard for how I do my thing in public. And I rarely ever match my own standard. But back then, like I said, I didn't have my voice yet. Back then I didn't really like have how I performed down. It was flares of what I am now, but it wasn't me. So I kind of feel bad about those performances.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't. Well, because I believe that everything happens in the moment that it happens because it's supposed to. Like when I have low attendance at an event, sometimes I feel like, oh man, like what a shame that not more people got to see this. But then on the other side of that, I also feel like, well, the people who were supposed to did. You know what I mean? So the people who experienced Xavier that early on needed to at that particular juncture for whatever reason that may have been. You needed to be at that level then.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Being around there, being in that environment, even like you said, networking. I'm an excellent networker because like you said, I just kind of appear, and it's like everybody knows me because I planned that. So I really just like was be there, and being there, I would meet folks. I reconnected with the rubber people there.
Yes.
Because I kind of grew up with them. My father is Danny Rodriguez. I don't know if you guys listen out there know him. He was kind of really big in the hip hop community here. He was Zulu. He started the Zulu chapter in the area.
Okay.
So a lot of the old heads and stuff I really know. Like for example, Gorilla Will. Like I knew about him. He's like an uncle, and I only met him recently because my father knew him super duper well. You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of these people I already knew, and I kind of reconnected with them like as a grown adult and stuff like that. And then reconnecting with new people. Meeting Terrell. Just really being around. Like I said, I planned this. Like this secret like niche 757 Hampton area poetry world. I've been looking for this. And I've been really just I kind of.
How did it feel when you found it?
Just
out of curiosity, because I asked this question to a lot of people.
Honestly, like I said, I planned for this, so it wasn't a surprise. This is my purpose. So for me, it just felt.
So
like
for you, you knew it was out there and you were seeking.
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Okay.
I was like, there's something. What I want is there. Like I can feel the shape of it.
Yeah, for me, it was more like, damn, this exists.
Oh, I knew.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I feel like Jack when he fell into Christmas Town. I was like, what is this?
Honestly, if it
I
didn't
like
exist,
this shit.
If it didn't exist, I was going to create it. That's how I feel about things. You know what I'm saying? So like if it didn't exist, I was going to call all my friends.
Yeah.
And we were going to like do something.
Commercially, the same applies to Christmas. If it didn't exist, they would have had to invent it.
Exactly, and I'm okay with that because Christmas is the biggest holiday around, and I would love for open mics and shit to be the biggest holidays around. So
oh man,
okay
could you imagine? Could you imagine if open mics got celebrated like that? If there was an open mic day?
It's ironic, George, because when I
all
watch
over
you
the
do your
world.
thing, I imagine church when I watch, and when I imagine you do your thing at the venue, I think of.
I try to create that atmosphere of fellowship.
No, I mean like literally your conduct. I don't know how many black churches you've gone to, sir, but you could just be right
Not
up on.
many,
You could be right up on the pulpit, sir. And then every time you do a piece at the end, I tell my friends, I'm like, this is just benediction, and just like, and it's just the tone of voice that you do it. It's the way you deliver it. Like you can change. You can say this. You can say the same poem every time. You don't, but you could say the same poem every time. I've heard repeat a couple of them, and each time it feels like a different piece. I have to listen for like halfway through until I'm like, that's my one. Because like you do it, and I'm like, that's why I'm like, that's the benediction. You really conduct it in a really cool.
That's something that
let the spirit
I
go
gave to that's something I learned from Dee Dee Delaney, and maybe I'll pass that on to you as a performer. Every time you do a poem, you should do it like it's the first time you ever did it. Yeah. Like that emotion is brand new to you.
Yeah,
and you never felt it before.
Over here, she's my like coach. She's one of my biggest fans apparently. And I didn't know that. Like she really sits around. Like I don't know if you got. It's just crazy to have a person like a good friend of yours that you know, who will text like, "What are you doing?" And she texts back, "Oh, I'm just listening. I'm watching your video, watching one of your performances that I recorded on my phone." And I'm just like, it's kind of the most surreal experience to have somebody.
Well,
really
yeah.
cool to say
I mean,
that.
not to talk about her like she's in third person and not in the room, but you do.
I didn't know she wanted to be like referenced because she was like.
Well,
sitting
yeah,
away from
India's
the
in the
mic.
house.
Yeah,
I mean,
India.
we're broadcasting live on YouTube. People are probably like, "Who's
why
are they talking about her like she's not there?" Am I crazy? Am I? Because I see her on my screen, but people are scratching at their laptops like.
If you see her, you're meant to. You're one of the chosen ones. Like.
But yeah, and it's important because a lot of artists that are like, download my single, check out my video, won't check out your video, won't download your single. You know what I mean? Like, won't. I know people that I sold my book to, and I'm glad they bought it, but they ain't read it yet. That shit came out in March. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Why do you even?
She's my coach / like lowercase a manager, low key. Cause she knows all the poet folks in the area. Like I really lucked into finding a friend like this. Like she knows all the poet things in the area, and she likes my stuff enough that she'll be like, okay, you got to do this now. Now you got to meet this person, and now you got to do this now. And then like every time I perform, she'll be like, okay, that was good, but what you got to do is, because she's a really big fan, and it's really dope how you do that. Like you're a huge fan, so she wants you to do it really, really good. So if it doesn't sound as good as she wants to hear it, she kind of like beats me up.
So is the poetry thing something you plan? Is it something you do and you want to just be dope at, or is it something you do want to be dope at and carry on with?
Well, everything I do, I kind of want to be dope at. That's kind of how.
Okay.
So
as it should be.
So yes, I want to be dope at this poetry thing, but also like
But why?
It's me. It's just me. It's a part of me. Like people tell me like when I speak, it sounds poetic all the time. Like even if poetry to me is nothing but really expressing.
Pardon me.
Is really shaping your words to express exactly what you're trying to, express out to folks. And I think that's essential in regular conversation. I think that the key elements of what makes poetry great, I'm going to always focus on just to learn. Yeah. But do I want to be like a world-renowned poet? Yeah. But
I guess that was to clarify. I guess that was my question. Do you want to enter slams? Do you want to compete?
Yes.
Do you want to be
all of
published?
Yes,
all
to all of that. And I want to do everything else.
So we do slams every first Wednesday of the month at the venue on 35th Street, hosted by Hurricane.
I'm in the dojo. I always tell her, I can't walk into a room full of swordsmen without my blades. So
yeah.
I'm actually
I don't know. Is it? It can be turned on.
The problem
it's on
is,
now.
Oh.
There we go.
She gonna check me on my art.
Nah, but all right, so he doesn't think he's good enough to do anything. No
I really
lie.
don't.
No lie.
I gotta be, because you guys are excellent.
I mean, and you don't either.
Don't call me
out.
Don't,
dang, son.
Nah, I'm the host.
Blow. Those are the shots he fired.
Do I need to put the name badge on? Do I need to put the badge on?
It ain't about me right now. Okay? It ain't about me right now. No, so we're on the way here, actually. I was telling him, I was like, do you think you want to contribute something to the Perspectives 2 that's coming out?
Oh, yeah, you absolutely should.
Yeah, and he's just like, nah, man. And I was like, why?
Well, look, okay, maybe this will change your mind. It's not about how good or not you think you are. It's about the cause that it's going to.
Exactly.
I hear you, and I hear you.
And you can be able to say that you contributed something that went.
But I can't put no work out. Like I this is how I feel about my stuff, and it's a whole lot of pride, I'm gonna do it. Like even if I hate what I write, it's gonna be something. Like I'm gonna do it. Like I'm stupid not to. But as far as like, like I really feel, like I said, like I really take this real seriously. I really take it. And honestly, you guys are so excellent to me. You guys are like super duper. You guys are superheroes. So.
And it's funny when I can't never really wrap my head around that.
That's fine. You don't have to. It's true. Like there's this thing called a fact, and it's real whether you believe it or not. And you're a superhero. So your dopeness is a fact of life, son. Like there's different things. Like I've been through the multiverse. You know what I'm saying? And you dope in every universe.
See, because that's how I feel about a lot of y'all in the community. Like when somebody, because
Nah. You're George though, so you know what I'm saying. You're the Mendez. The Mendez.
All right.
AKA chocolate milk.
Like he is like the wizard, in the castle.
He's definitely George. Is like, oh my goodness, George, you're George.
Okay.
You're in fact, when I first met you, you were not Jorge in my head. Not Jorge.
Yeah, I've never gone by that pronunciation.
It's fine.
I was named after my biological pops, and me and him have never really had a relationship. So. A, so that people would stop butchering Jorge my whole life, and B, to sort of create that separation between me and this individual.
No, I understand.
I've gone by George my whole life, but we are not. This is not the George show. Tonight it's the Xavier show.
I can always hustle it to be about.
So
George.
you were talking about how important it is to you and how seriously you take the writing.
Yeah, so you're like. Come out to the slams, come out to the I'm going to, but it's a plan to solve. Like this, I'm gonna come in slicing heads off. You know what I'm saying? And you guys are real.
You should at least come and watch first.
That's
what I'm doing.
Oh no, 100%.
I may or may not compete, but I'm
part of any successful
in the water.
You're right. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And that's all about my work schedule and so on and so forth. But this is, like I said, this is mapped out. This to you guys, I'm a surprise, but I've been planning. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the I've been in the dojo. I'm coalescing all my stuff, and I'm coming out all guns blazing. Plus, I got to get my catalog up because y'all folks got y'all have been doing this.
I feel the same way actually. I feel like, man, I need to get my catalog up.
Bro, you got like 2 whole books though, and I have like 5 poems that I think are dope enough to perform. You know what I'm saying? And I have other stuff that I can do.
Well, think about it like this: out of all the poems I have, you've only been rocking around for like 6 months, I think. Maybe you've been coming to the events, and you've heard me repeat. So I clearly don't have that many poems that I think are good enough to
hear you. I just kind of felt like you were just like, I'm so dope that it doesn't matter. I could read your
I don't ever feel that way.
You should.
I walk off that stage a lot of times feeling like, man, that was kind of, I didn't give him what I should have. But
you're dope though. With a J.
All right. So when you're writing, talk about your process a little bit, because I know, like you said, you take it seriously. It's a craft for you. When do you do free writes and then edit out, or do you like kind of already know?
My style switches up, so
from piece to piece.
And again, India can because she watches me come up with a lot of my ideas. So it can be like, I'll structurally think of something, and she's like, I'll say stuff out loud like over and over until it's like something that makes sense, or I'll say it, I'll see the pieces, and I'll be like, there's a good such and such kind of reference in there. And I'll really sit down and I'll really be like, bam, got it. So there's stuff that I really, like I said, because also I come from like a really good like creative writing background as far as like structured writing. So sometimes I really look at different things like that. Sometimes I write pieces for a purpose. This emotional stuff I write is usually more of a free flow. But even then, it'll be like I'll kind of have my head on a certain emotion, and then I'll have it bubbling. I write in my head a lot. Like most of my stuff I write in my head. So that's one of the reasons why I carried a notebook, not because I was writing stuff down, but because like I want to remember it exactly how I remember it, like it's written in my head at that exact moment where I'm like, perfect, got it, all right. So I have stuff, and I go on walks all the time. I've walked 2 miles a day since I was in like middle school. On average, like that's just kind of what I do. So when I go home and I have some time to myself, like when I get off of work, I just go for like a walk. Like I have a route around my neighborhood. People know me. There's that kid with the hair. I'll walk around at least about a mile or so and just kind of think and just.
Is the walk not? You don't have to answer this question if it's too personal, but is the walking somehow related to the cancer?
100%, 100%.
You walked because there was a possibility you couldn't at one point?
Literally, actually. 100. Well, one, I've always walked. Walking is how we got around. we some walking folk around. Walk to your Uncle house. My uncles live about a mile or two away. We straight, we good, we walk. So walking is how we've always had that option. It's always been a thing we did. So there's that. We've always been rather active youth. So we all walk at my house, but I enjoy walking. And you're right. That's exactly I had treatment every Friday, every Friday like clockwork. Hated it. During the summer it sucked. I had to wake up early. During the school year it was great. Got to sleep in. But because I didn't go to the hospital the same day I went to school, I just refused. I was like, I don't want to go to both places. I'm not gonna go 2 places I don't want to go in the same day. I would go. So yeah, the day before, me and my friend Xavier have a best friend with the same name. I hope he's watching. He's not, because he's lame or at work. He lives in 3 miles. He's 3 hour difference. So who knows? I wouldn't be this Xavier without that Xavier. We're 2 sides of the same. And everything, hip hop, bars, dancing. We've been battling each other since middle school. But anyway, we used to go and get Little Caesars pizza. That was our thing. One of us would hustle $5. I've been side hustling my whole life. I used to hustle bootleg DVDs at school to get, Little Caesars pizza.
I used to sell candy. I stole from
definitely
stores.
wouldn't sell candy. I didn't love people enough to sell candy. I didn't get a computer until senior year of high school. I was bootlegging stuff all throughout like middle school. Don't ask how. I was just that dude. But
I used to sell Black and Miles.
So you would.
Swear to God, yep.
So she always got a black. That's funny. I would defiantly every Friday it would be treatment, and after the weekend after treatment I'd be useless physically. I wouldn't be able to eat. I was sick all the time, but right after treatment, it was like I was the worst. I hated who I was after treatment. I would just be sick as a dog.
Yeah.
So you're right. Like the day before treatment, Thursday, I'd go on me a nice little walk.
There's poetry in that,
Yeah. That's why. That's one of the reasons you see me get Arizona all the time. Arizona teas is $1. The 7-Eleven was about half a mile from my house. That Arizona had ginseng. I had read in the Wu-Tang manual that ginseng helped out with stomach aches and headaches, and they always gave me Percocet, and I didn't want to take Percocet for a headache because Percocet kills you. So I would get up, hustle me $1 from somewhere, walk to 7-Eleven, get me an Arizona green tea with ginseng, and walk home. And that was kind of like my own way of just saying fuck cancer. And there'd be times, man, I'd be so sick, bro. You know what it's like, the dry heave?
Yes, I do it.
Do you know it's like the dry heave? I was walking.
You feel like your actual stomach is gonna come
bro,
out.
Your
I was
actual
gonna stomach.
blood. So I was doing something gonna have to come out. I was on the side of the road. There's times I'd have to sit down on the side of the road, because I didn't have the energy. And I'd be out somewhere walking. Hey, my God, it's my man Waffles.
Waffles in the house.
Hashtag families need fathers. Hashtag Black fathers. Hashtag Black fathers matter. Hashtag Black lives matter. Hashtag mentor to all Black people. Hashtag
pop vinyl aficionado.
Hashtag Bila Tribe. Hashtag Bila Fusion.
But did he bring food? But did he bring food?
Hashtag Ego Mac.
But did he bring food?
Wow. Yo, I'm gonna start calling you Ego Mac, yo.
Hey.
Ego Mac.
The Ego Mac.
Yeah.
Oh. It's cold, man.
My man came in smooth.
Oh man, look.
Oh shit.
He came in smooth.
Yeah, it's cold as Eskimo nuts.
Eskimo nuts.
It's freezing
the original cold, man. Hold on.
Word.
I'm gonna need this chick.
All right. Well, actually, I think this is a good opportunity for us to kick it to a couple songs and take our hour break. You're listening to the Chocolate Milk and Waffles Show on Radio F Radio. Waffles is back in the building. I missed it. I missed it so much. We are having a little bit of technical difficulties with our telephone number. So tonight, if you'd like to call in, maybe share a couple bars, have a question for Xavier, it is 525-3276. One more time, that is area code 757-525-3276. Call in and join the conversation with Xavier Rodriguez.
Spit some bars. Yes, do that.
Spit bars.
Spit some bars, man.
Here. You guys post on social media. Maybe people will call.
Yeah, we're all the most likely duo. We're from you got just like Pluto. We're still the best looking thing in music since Menudo. making the impossible possible. And when things like that happen, it's unstoppable. I still try to keep it real logical. Listen closely in your eyes, this is hypnotical. My goal is to show you what this rap thing's all about. I may look funny, but that's because I have gout. With that goal, I probably already failed. Where this in this thing, it's too late to bail. I'm hopping on this creature and flying in the clouds. Everything is great, nothing can bring me down. Spoke too soon, sinking down to the ocean. I think I see the Titanic, or maybe I'm just going through the motions. I know a lot of this doesn't make any sense, but I don't care. It's all made up in my head, so there. It's up to you to choose what you believe. This has just been my fantasy. Don't worry about us, cause we'll be fine. Just go to bed, baby, and never mind.
Lay your head on your side and dream the night away.
Dreaming the night away.
Dreaming the night away.
Dreaming the night away.
Dreaming the night away. Check. In a past life, I was actually a warlord. There's blood on my hands, that's for sure. But this is the new me. I don't do that no more. So if it's true, I am not without sin. But I'm just trying to get a win. I'll make a comeback and make your head spin. Got a loud enough bass to bother a deaf kid. If you're betting on me now, go place a bid. In the end, none of this even matters. Nothing is real and it's all gonna shatter. I'm your guide and you can tell I'm the Mad Hatter. Start seeing through the looking glass, it's like Wonderland, except you might just get kicked in your... This dream became a nightmare and it just won't pass. You'll get lost and if you didn't place a kick, you'll get fooled if you end up falling for a trick. Can't guarantee this is a safe place to be, but stay close and follow me, and you'll be okay to some degree. There's nothing to worry about, except just don't be a chump. What's the worst that can happen? You just won't wake up.
Don't worry about us, cause we'll be fine. Just go to bed, baby, and never mind.
Dreaming the night away.
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 Purple is my favorite color. Your mom is my favorite lover. I could be the father to your sis or your brother. Picking up with Cheche, just staying in your slumber. You're probably in your REM sleep. You're too busy counting on them sheep. I'll come in, I will make a beep. You'll wake up and won't know what you'll see. But hey, it's only a dream.
Tuck yourself in at night. Do it and don't put up a fight, or you'll go to a magical place. Sometimes it could just blow off your face. It doesn't matter, you're in your own world. You have a house, kids, and your own girl. It's perfect, no priorities like rent to pay. It's okay not to wake up and stay. Just keep dreaming the night away.
Don't worry about us, cause we'll be fine. Just go to bed, baby, and never mind.
Dreaming the night away.
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 Roll me up, take a bite right out.
Take 16.
It's the chocolate milk and waffle show. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's get it on. Who are these guys? It's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.
Hey, welcome in. Here on Radio for Radio, go tell a friend. Where Terrell and George at, bring them in. We got so many things to talk about, so let's begin. Putting the highlight on local life on Thursdays, 8 at night. Hope you feeling alright, cause tonight we gon' get you right. Yeah, show you right. We gon' laugh, joke, talk, rinse, repeat. We gon' keep it real chill, plus get deep. Ain't no topic off limits, no knock off the gimmick. 10 times out of 9, you'll be fine when we finish. We get talented, hard to get artists to target that audience. Talk accomplishments of those who get no acknowledgement. The studio be hot in the summertime, studio be cold in the winter. And know the chair a bit dusty, it be a throne we enter. Have a seat with us, chocolate milk and waffles, come and eat with us. 2 whole hours, turn your speakers up. And before we get it started, just repeat it thus. It's old chocolate milk and waffle show. Yeah. It's the chocolate milk and waffle show. We got George, we got Terrell, we got milk, that's chocolate. We got beautiful buttery waffles, just the way your mama used to make them.
Crazy, crazy, crazy show. That's what it is. Okay, whatever. I can't.
And we're back.
Sort of, kind of, sort of.
You are listening to the Chocolate Milk and Waffle Show on Radio FRadio.com.
What's going on?
Did you know that elephants wear tutus so that you can't see them hiding in trees?
Yes. I saw it on Babar.
You ever seen an elephant in a tutu? Well, then you know it works.
That's right.
Well, then you know it works.
Go.
I'm so
Get out.
She literally put thought into that, like.
Yeah.
Elephants wear tutus to hide in trees. Since you haven't
To
seen
hide
it.
in trees?
Yeah,
Yes.
Since you haven't seen an elephant in a tutu, then it's working.
Oh, so they're hiding.
That's how you know it's working.
Ninja twos.
Right? I looked up ninjas on Google. It said ninjas can't be found. I was like, well played, ninjas. Well played.
Never.
Kind of like John Cena.
You can't see me.
You can't see a John Cena post.
He's actually in the room. I don't know if you guys know.
Because we can't see him.
He's been here the whole time. I invited. He texted me.
Yeah.
So we have been kicking it with our good friend Xavier Rodriguez and India Downey this evening. Our partner Waffles has just walked into the house right before the break. Welcome back, homie.
Yeah, feels good to be
How was your
here.
week, man?
I know he did.
My week has. I told y'all I work outside all day, so it's just like.
Yeah, my man took off his coat and rolled the sleeves up.
He said,
We in here
son,
under
I'm glad.
blankets. I can see my conversation.
Yeah, man.
And this fool done rolled not just took the rolled the sleeves up.
We got a whole butt.
He ain't got a scully on.
Here.
I got a whole.
Yeah, he took off his hood. I was like, I thought he was tripping. Then he's putting the headphones on. And
I
they
got
kept
on-
going. I was like, oh man.
I'm layered up.
I actually prayed before I walked in again.
He said he
I'm
prayed.
uncomfortably cold.
I'm one of those people. I sweat in the snow, so
Yeah,
it's just.
That's problematic, is what it is.
I've been like this since I was a kid, though, man. It was like I'd be that one kid. They'd be like, "Put your coat on," and I gotta take it off because I'm like a big sweat.
But I don't feel nothing.
Goddamn, I'm hot.
I know, right?
That's how I would be.
You
Like,
been getting sick and shit?
Yeah.
Why my son sweating so hard? Did he have a jacket on? It's 32 degrees outside, ma'am. He doesn't need a jacket. Just don't even
It generates heat. It's a superpower.
That gives you more superpowers than Batman. Just
this
saying.
explains you why Human Torch was black in the last Fantastic Four movie.
Oh.
I haven't seen that.
Don't feel bad.
It wasn't good. Yeah.
Do not feel
That's why
bad.
I saw
Are we
both
really
of
gonna
them.
go there? We're gonna go there. One more time, the number to call in just for this week while we are taking care of some issues with our phone lines. It is 525-3276. That's area code 757-525-3276. Call in, spit some bars, ask Xavier a question. Join the conversation.
What have I missed?
Be part of the human experience. Well, the whole first hour of the show.
What nuggets has Xavier dropped that?
Nothing.
We talked mostly about writing process and
Like the beginning of things.
yeah,
The beginning of things.
the beginning.
Yeah, how it became Xavier the capital P poet, as
Word.
opposed to Xavier, a guy who occasionally does poetry stuff.
That's all right.
Okay, now you and I initially met through Biofusion, and I'll never forget I was there when you were auditioning for Bala Tribe.
Yeah.
And how did you? I know this kind of story, but how did hip hop become a part of who you are?
Oh man! First, actually, let me tell you guys how cool Terrell is, because he's cool. He's the coolest. Like I said, we have a prior association. Hashtag Battle Tribe. You know what I'm saying? They're a really dope dance studio. They do all kinds of community uplifting stuff, but they do dance stuff primarily. Let me tell you how cool Terrell is. George is cool. Let me tell you how cool Terrell is. And like I said, he saw me when I auditioned for Battle Tribe. I didn't make it. I didn't cry that night, but.
You said that night.
Nah, I just danced actually. Me and Xavier, we danced that whole day. But so Terrell just met me that time. I was like, yo, I'm trying to do poetry stuff. He was like, word, I'll hit you up. And I was like, bet. And then like a week later, I was walking home from work, and this was like a good 3.5 mile walk. Light work Tuesday nights. And I was walking past 7-Eleven, and then Terrell is right there at the 7-Eleven, and he's just like, yo, bro, I know you, right? And I was like, yeah, man. He's like, yo, you need a ride? And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Like, all he knew was I danced sloppily. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he offered me a ride, just like, yo, it was so dope.
But the cops won't.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But the cops ride right by you.
The cops would be like, you can't walk there, and then almost hit you. Yeah, right. Terrell is like, I know this guy with wild
Like, get off the sidewalk.
Yeah. And I know I looked straight like bummy that day. I was walking home, you know what I'm saying? I looked disheveled, so. Terrell is dope. But how did hip hop? Because like I always tell people I am hip hop. Like I was talking to Fats about that. It's funny. Like me and Fats.
Yeah.
Fats. Hashtag Zulu Nation. Hashtag Fats. But I just am. Like it's just hip hop. Okay. So growing up, I had my mother and my father. They were not together. So it wasn't really two separate households. I was definitely staying with my mom and my two brothers. Like my whole life. But my father, he lived, close to my church. So, he was around. I kind of got around. I saw him like once or twice a year.
You got me beat.
He was big. Yeah.
Got me beat.
Yeah, we're friends on Facebook. No, I'm playing. My dad's cool. He's cool. Danny Rodriguez. He think I love him. He's a cool dude. But we, growing up, didn't see him too often. But when we did hang out, we would talk about hip hop. And my father, like I said, my father, Danny Rodriguez. He started the Zulu chapter in the area. He's pretty big into hip hop stuff. So. So like at my mom's house it was church, and at my dad's house it was hip hop. Like I didn't even know hip hop was a separate culture growing up. To me it was just how my dad and all his friends are. You know what I'm saying? Right. So like I knew the four pillars when I didn't even know that was a separate. I didn't know people didn't know that. Like,
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So and the same thing about church stuff. Like it was church and hip hop was kind of what I grew up on. And not equal measure, but and plus my mom enjoyed hip hop because she was from that era. My uncle enjoyed hip hop. So just that kind of was just always my thing, hip hop. And then growing up, I wanted to get into hip hop because it was just kind of a way of connecting with my father. You know what I mean? So it was just like, kind of just to understand him better. But then as I got into hip hop, I kind of really just broke off and did my own it was just like a whole like how I really just grown into myself as a person. Throughout middle school and high school, mostly, cancer stuff happens. You really like evaluate yourself.
Yeah.
And I really was just like, I am hip hop. Like it wasn't just like at this point, I've had it in my life long enough. These are the things I'm carrying with me my whole life.
Well, it's the mantra, hip hop. Rap is something you do. Hip hop is something you live.
Exactly.
Hip hop is my everything.
Yeah.
You know
Now, with you being a b-boy, how do you feel when somebody comes to you and be like, "Yo, I know hip hop," but yet and still all they can name is like rappers? How does that make you feel when it happens?
Honestly, I don't even listen to. I have to just accept the fact that like people think hip hop is a genre of music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, you guys have seen my statuses. I'm always like, if you can't tell me the four pillars,
Yeah.
shut the fuck up. Like, and that's like like to people like
you lose like 20% of the people right there.
Yeah, they'd be like pillars. You know what I mean? And
like you're Muslim?
Yeah, like I'll lose like low key.
Are you building a coliseum?
Yeah, I'll lose
You need
low key
pillars?
hip hop heads because they don't even call it. They call it the four elements. Like four pillars is an old school term. You know what I mean? So I really tested folks when I say that. But yeah, I don't. It depends on who I'm arguing with. I argue with like, I want to say white people all the time, but people who like have definitely not have a really good context with rap or hip hop anyway, regardless of skin tone. That wasn't the music they grew up with, and that wasn't the culture they were around. They kind of just like listen to rap, and then people assume. I argue with old heads all the time, or people older than me. I use old heads a lot. I'm sorry. I argue with people because I'm 22. I argue with people 35 and up all the time because it's people I work with, so on and so forth. And they always think they know stuff because they were there.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, "Oh, bro, what do you know about rap, bro? I was there when da 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 came out."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yo, shut up." Because you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even know that there are. Because I was having an argument with my coworker just like yesterday, and he was like, "Would you consider like you have to admit he's dope hip hop?" And I was like, "I don't even think he's a good rapper." But
who are we talking about?
I'm not gonna name any names. I get in trouble.
I already know who you're talking about.
Jeremiah. No, I'm playing J. Cole, bro. I hate that guy. But he was like, you have to admit he's dope hip hop. And I was like, stop right there. If you think he's a good rapper, that's one thing. But to throw hip hop in there is a very serious, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying he's not hip hop, but to say he's dope hip hop, you know what I mean? Like, certainly can't say that. So,
but see, it's that the whole J. Cole thing is kind of like something I think I posted it on your status where I was like, you know, that when there's no other, like, if you're in the water, if you're in the water and nothing else is around to save you, a canoe will look like a yacht. And when it comes to what's out now, you can't really, mainstream wise, you can't really compare
right.
him.
I agree with you, but and you know, I don't. And this is to get this out there. I'm only so gung ho against J. Cole because it's funny to me. I actually I think Born Center was a dope album. I listen to Forbidden Fruit all the time.
I think he's an incredible writer.
I know more. I don't think he's incredible anything. Like
I think he's a really good writer.
I think I get really this. Me and I reference Xavier a lot because he's like my other half as far as hip hop stuff goes. We agree on almost everything about rappers in general except for J. Cole. He actually, and that's how I had to listen to J. Cole because of Xavier I listened to Chance the Rapper, because of Xavier I listened to Kendrick Lamar. So Xavier's somebody whose opinion I listened to. So he was like, yo, J. Cole is dope. And I was like, yo, I don't see it. But because somebody whose opinion I respect as intellectually and hip hop tells me he's dope, at the very least, I have to give him a chance on things. And what I really come to find out is like I don't like his lyrical style. I don't like it. I'm really kind of spoiled when it comes to I'm kind of a hip hop snob.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a hip hop snob. So it's really what it is. He's definitely, to me, and this is horrible, he's definitely McDonald's hip hop to me. And I really honestly
elaborate.
He's definitely not like like a crap rapper. He definitely has stuff he's trying to say sometimes. I think he's like the Lego blocks of rap. Like he doesn't have complex vocabulary. He doesn't have a really complex flow. He's not even always consistent in his flow. Sometimes he's trying to be melodic. Sometimes he's trying to be really lyrical, and it kind of just comes off, in my opinion at least, kind of just like subpar. Like because he's trying to be hip hop. He's not just trying to be out here like I'm a rapper. Right? He's trying to sound. If you're trying to say dope stuff, I'm gonna expect you to say it real dope like. So to me, he's very decent. I always tell you that. Like my actual opinion of J. Cole as a rapper is decent, but his fandom gives him this like weird narrative as if he's underrated.
And I agree with that. I agree with that. Some of the more hardcore fans are a little ridiculous.
And people using it weird things.
Like, y'all acting like he's like the rap messiah.
Yeah,
like,
and
chill the fuck out.
I hear it more often than you guys because these are my peers. Like you know what I mean? So I was hanging out with my homegirl the other day, and she was telling me that like there was a popular like thing on like Twitter or something, and she was like, it said, you can tell girls are getting smarter now because they're listening to J. Cole. And I was like, there's so many things wrong with everything in that thing. Yeah. Like, are you saying that girls were stupid? Are you saying that you're smart?
Yes, that's exactly what they're saying.
No, there's so much more that they're saying.
Right.
Girls have been stupid. Somehow listening to J. Cole is an indication of anybody's intelligence. Somehow men are on some kind of guru shit apparently because they heard J. Cole first. You know what I mean? Like there's so much all kinds of tiers of fucked upness.
It's a little bit silly.
You know what I mean? So J. Cole
fandoms in general can become incredibly silly.
You're right, but like because of social media, it's really really easy. Like
there are entire conventions based around Star Trek.
You made that statement and you were like, yo, canoes when you underwater and shit look like yachts. And I'm like, I hear you, but J. Cole's reputation is underratedness, that he's not mainstream. So you know what I mean? Like if you're the kind of person I had to hunt, you gotta listen to these old mixtapes and shit. You gotta listen to. I'm like, well, if you're out here like that in the underground, there's way doper people out there in the underground. If you like that, you know what I mean? So like, I don't like J. Cole. I have no issue with J. Cole. Like again, he's very decent, and some of his tracks I'll bump. I haven't heard his new joint yet, and that's not even because of my like, I have a hatred for J. Cole. I just didn't like 2014 Forest Hill Drives that often. I mean that well, and people told me this wasn't as good as that. And I don't have enough space on my phone for 2 albums I don't like that much. So that's why I have it on my Google Drive because my homegirl asked me for it. So I mean, if you like, I have it like on hand. If I want, like, if you guys want to bust it out.
Yeah, I have it too. I haven't.
You know what I'm saying? I
just
haven't put it in the rotation.
Me because I'm busy as shit and I'm
moving
and doing all kinds of crazy
I was like,
stuff.
So I mean, I'll probably sit down one day and really be like, you know what? Let me see what this is about. But as far as like, how do I? J. Cole, he's decent. He's decent. But I use J. Cole as like my thing for like the opinion on rap and hip hop as a whole, because you can, based on who becomes really popular, you see what the mindset of like certain things is. And I'm not saying hip hop because again, Fat said this at Feature Sundays actually, and people asked him, if people say hip hop is dead, how do you feel about that? He was like, hip hop is doing great because hip hop as a culture is on the rise. Black people, black stuff in general, urban stuff, ethnic stuff, non-white stuff in general is on the rise. Like it's becoming super cool to be ethnic. You know what I mean? So hip hop is thriving as a culture. They're just trying to say hip hop as music. You know, I was talking to Andy. Have you guys like the documentary on Netflix, the hip hop one? What's it called?
Revelation.
Is that
Revolution.
Evolution.
Yeah, I haven't watched
Evolutions,
it.
yeah.
What's really
I haven't
cool
watched
about
it yet
it
either.
What's really cool about it is I was telling this to Indy. It really shows that hip hop has always had a debate between mainstream and underground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because when Rapper's Delight came out, the hip hop community was like, "Yo, what the fuck is this bullshit?"
Yeah, exactly.
But it's considered the first rap album ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, actually,
So-
I thought no, I wouldn't say the first.
First
I-
mainstream. You know
I
what
was
I'm
about
saying?
no, I'm gonna say something wrong, but I had to stop myself because some people consider Blondie's song "Rapture."
I will never.
Yeah, no,
the
you're right.
first
You're
joint
right.
with the
will
first.
never
and I was-
concede to that
But
bullshit.
the reason why, like
Never.
that was definitely like people's first.
But I had to think about
taste
that
of
was the
rap
first
music.
one with somebody rapping on the track.
Exactly, but that wasn't.
That's
wasn't
why I
a rap.
stopped
Yeah,
myself.
She's like a disc. You know what I'm saying? That was, you know. I
We
get. I
got,
see what you're
we
saying.
got
though, but you're
Fab
right.
Five Freddy. What?
But you're right though. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. So there's always been a debate between mainstream and underground. You know, of what is
Yeah.
true hip hop. You know, that's throughout the history of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I use J. Cole as like an example of just saying like, yo, if you're really interested in real shit, I got a list of real shit for you.
Yeah.
If
Right.
you're really interested in some fuckboy shit, you can listen to fuckboy shit. You just
Give
say
me
you
the
like
top.
J. Cole.
Give me the top 5 on your list of real shit.
Damn, I hate top 5
Yeah.
questions because it changes with my mood. All right,
If
so-
somebody
Okay.
if somebody were to say to you, Xavier, recommend it. Not even the top 5. We'll just say
Okay.
5.
Strong
Yeah,
recommendations.
five
Give
strong
5 strong
recommendations, yeah.
recommendations to somebody
I always,
who
if somebody's
is-
like, yo, I want some hard shit. What do you listen to for hard shit? I go Wu-Tang. For one, they're dope to me. 2, their cultural impact. And I always think cultural impact is important. Wu-Tang was like the first time 9 niggas got together and did anything. It was an
Yeah.
album recorded in somebody's basement. It's the literal definition of gangster shit. Because
not only the groundbreaking contract that they signed with Loud Records.
yeah, exactly. Like it was a revolutionary for the culture of music, rap,
Yeah.
how music was made.
Like
production.
no group had ever signed a deal where they were signed to a contract as a group,
but
they were all,
individually
they were allowed to go
they
do
want.
whatever the hell they
Yeah,
wanted.
they can come
Yeah.
together as the Wu-Tang for one record label, but Method Man was signed to somebody,
Mhm.
and GZA was like so.
Yeah.
Like I always say, like I'm always like 36 Chambers because like it's like my hard shit. Like bro, they recorded in my man's basement after Ghostface got out of jail. That's hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I rip it hardcore like porno flick bitches. Drop the mic. So 36 Chambers. I always reference that if people want to listen to hard shit. Hard shit. Anything by Immortal Technique.
Yes.
And also because he's also really, really intellectual, and it shows in his rhyming. I always tell people that Immortal Technique has like a Biggie Smalls. Like if Biggie Smalls had a higher intellect, he would sound like Immortal Technique. Like if Biggie Smalls had a better
Yeah, I can
vocabulary.
see that.
Because his flow is very similar, and they both craft stories all the time. But Immortal Technique, because he's way different than people's usual perspective of rap, but he's also gully as shit. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. What else? If I'm like, yo, listen to some hard stuff. Hard hitting stuff. Man, this is the hardest question I've ever been asked. Thank you guys.
Wow. You're welcome.
Because I have so much like what I consider hard. So like,
Okay.
I'd probably have to say it was written by Nas. It was written. Actually, you know what? I'm also gonna throw Ready to Die in there if you went hard hitting stuff. I think Biggie Smalls is one of the most overrated rappers in the world. But I also think Ready to Die is like as a body of work is phenomenal. Like listening to that in order, the way it was structured.
As far as Biggie goes, my opinion is like this: when rhyme structure, he's close to unparalleled.
Yeah, he's up there.
Content,
Yeah, exactly.
he never said anything that made me,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like the line
Like-
was dope because artistically it was
dope.
dopely written.
Exactly. And
But
that's- a lot of people
I
even
don't
ever-
give a fuck,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
people
care.
People try to say like, "Yo, Biggie's one of the greatest," and I'm like, "You like him for wrong reasons."
Yeah,
bro.
when people like if you do a top 5 that don't got Big and Pac in it, you ain't what?
You've seen
Nah,
my
man, I'm
status.
sorry.
on
My
that.
top 5
I'm
doesn't
like,
have Big
what?
Pac in it.
If you
Exactly.
if you got a top 5 and it has Big Pac or Eminem, I'm gonna assume you don't know hip hop. Like,
Well,
that's
M's
just-
in my top 5,
I understand that, but I know you know hip hop.
but
If-
Pac and Big aren't.
yeah, like,
All right, now
anyway.
give it
Redman
Ready
is.
to Die
Yeah,
is definitely
Black
up
Thought
there
Okay,
for
Ready to
shit.
Die.
Because Ready to Die is like some of the hardest, like, and
Okay.
then Suicidal Thoughts that hit me by surprise. I was like, I listened to that album on a walk. Actually, I was on a walk for.
That's
an
like
hour.
one of the few times he got real
Yeah,
on a
bro.
track.
I quote it all the
like,
time, bro.
personal.
Oh my
But
God.
see,
I
what
wonder
you
if
got to
the
remember
die
is Diddy didn't want him to be like that, though.
That's true. Yeah.
Diddy stopped Big from being
yeah.
big.
Yeah.
Again, the debate, between mainstream and not, you know what I'm saying, selling versus what's, you know what I
Right.
mean? So that's the only issue. But if I'm like, yo, who people should listen to as far as like my five favorite rappers right now, I have real hard with Chance the Rapper. Sign me up for the Chance the Rapper camp. I think he's amazing as a person, as a Christian, as a hip hop person. Because people always say like, like as far as like hip hop and its core is about community and unity,
Right.
and that's all he promotes. Like
Yeah.
he does all kinds of behind the scenes stuff. He organizes shows with like Kirk Franklin. He gives mad money to charity. You know what I'm saying? Like he does.
He
stuff
did it
for
by
the poor.
himself.
Yeah, he does stuff, and he's been doing it by himself.
Yep.
You know
Right.
what I mean? So like I'm like, even if you think his music sucks, which it doesn't, and if you think it does, anybody out there, you're lame. I'll show you. And if you probably heard like 4 tracks you didn't like, but I guarantee you he has 4 other tracks that sound like a whole different genre of music. So it's impossible to say you don't like Chance. Like
I'm gonna tell you the first
I
couple
don't
times
like
I
Chance. He
heard
has a gospel track, a
the
gangster track,
first
and a
couple
trap
times
track. What do you
I
want?
heard Chance the Rapper.
Chancellor Bennett, the rapper.
I was hearing him on like other people's stuff, like
Yeah,
non-hip-hop
everywhere.
tracks. I'm like, yo, who is? It's like almost every song Pandora was. Okay, I'm listening to Tay Shi. Okay,
SZA.
like what? I'm like, who is this kid rapping? Listen to gosh, it was some other group like Aeon or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, who's this? Chance the Rapper featuring Chance the Rapper. Who is this kid?
Yeah, and he and again I like he's the same age as me, so like I compare, like I'm not gonna say I compare myself to him, but it's just really cool. He said did it on his
I'm
own.
gonna have to look into more Chance the Rapper. I
Yeah,
haven't listened to a lot of Chance.
he wrote his first mixtape 10 Day, in 10 days because he got suspended for medical marijuana possession. So he wrote the whole mixtape in 10 days and spent the next 1.5 years promoting it. He talks about how he missed prom because he had a performance that night, like it was one of his first performances. You know what I mean? So he's a very honest and open person. And like I said, his genres of music are so different. Like people are like, I don't like Chance. I'm like, but he has literally like
I tend to
different kinds of
gravitate
music.
towards people who put their personal story into their music, and you can tell it's genuine.
And he does.
And I think that's what's my draw to Eminem. Like
Eminem, honestly, old stuff by Eminem, I used to quote, like, I was really fascinated. You can tell when I'm into somebody, I'm into their life. Eminem's story and journey to me, like, Eminem actually is a
him
phenomenal,
and I have similar artistic journeys, I think. And I think that's why I relate so much.
and that's why George
I
is
can
dope,
see that,
ladies and
yeah.
gentlemen.
Yeah. I can see
George
that.
just said, I have similar artistic qualities to somebody who's widely considered one of the greatest
No,
rappers. of all time.
artistic journey.
I
I
know.
didn't nowhere near. I would never compare my skill and talent
I'm
to
just
his,
saying.
but like the
I would.
progression that he made artistically, at its core, like
You know what? I have to say, new Eminem's kind of not that cool, though. Like, I mean, he's like, I always tell people,
I
like,
didn't care.
technical,
I wasn't
technical
crazy.
lyricism.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about the campaign speech joint that he dropped recently.
Me neither.
That 8-minute thing.
Yeah.
And I can respect it for the fact that it's essentially it's 8-minute long wordplay tumble.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. The words just play into each other and tumble into each other on the surface. When you dig a little deeper,
I always tell people
there,
that.
there are
Difference-
some jewels in there.
Difference
But-
between dance and acrobatics.
Yeah,
sometimes,
like-
you know what I mean. Difference between dance and
R-
acrobatics.
exactly.
And
He
Eminem,
was-
he's capable of dance, but lately all he's been doing is acrobatics.
Yeah, I think he's
And
kind of
that's
gotten
really-
to that point in his career where
Like-
he's purged
Yeah, he's like, I
all
don't-
that emotional.
Oh yeah. Also, I've actually never. You'll never hear me come at Eminem. Eminem used to be my favorite rapper. Like Eminem is actually phenomenally, like Eminem he's proven anything he need to prove. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, he ain't
he's
gotta
true
prove
hip
shit
hop.
to
You know what I'm saying?
nobody.
Like Eminem is fucking Eminem. So
Yeah.
like he really does like his rap like that is mostly earned. His popularity is a bit like we were just talking about. People like to up people up a whole
fandom.
lot.
Yeah.
You know what
And
I'm
that's
saying?
with anything, music, movies.
Exactly.
You know
No,
what I
you're
mean?
right.
Like,
But Eminem, like if you just was like, yo, just throw Eminem on an island with our top rappers and see who wins, he chewing some folks up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's just how it's gonna be. But yeah, I would never put him in the top 5. But nah, like Chance the Rapper, like for me, he's definitely like I said, as a man, he's real cool. Plus, he's the same age as me. I really identify with him, and so on and so forth. Who else would I say? Mos Def is always. Mos Def was my like.
I love Mos.
You said remember that
Mos is in my
moment?
top
That
five.
moment you decided like you're a poet. I don't really remember that moment where I kind of hit that one. Like I got my voice because I had been planning for it for so long that when I got it, it was just part of the plan.
Gotcha.
But that moment where I decided I was hip hop was I changed my b-boy name because it used to be Magnetic with a K at the end instead of a C. Because I was asking my father for help, and I was like, "What would be a good b-boy name?" And he was like, "Yo, you should do Magnetic." And I was like, "That's dope." And then when I really decided to, because I got into hip hop to relate to him, when I decided to get into hip hop for my own reasons, I didn't want to use the name he gave me.
I got
Which
you.
is funny because most of my life, my mom wanted to change my last name, and when I had a chance to, I didn't. I wanted to keep his name, but I didn't want to keep the name he gave me. So I chose Sabi because it still harkens like I'm not Mexican, I'm Dominican. It's not Javier, it's Xavier. So when I'm up in New York visiting my abuelita, she called me. They call me Sabi. Sabi, Xavier, Sabi. And then I had an incident with Wasabi one time. So like they call me Wasabi Tech Xavier most of the time. So it was Sabi, and then I had cancer and kicked cancer's ass. So, you know, back in the old school days of the B-boys, you take a nigga's you kill a nigga, you take his name. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can't use his name no more. That's some gully shit. So I took the C off of cancer and put it at the front of my name.
Oh,
and that's why so that's how I came up with my new B-boy name.
That's dope.
I like the way he sniffed after, like,
so,
right, like,
See that? See that?
That was that. So like that Most Def was like my first foray, because I was like, yo, I want to listen to hip hop on my own. I didn't want to hit my father up. I was like, yo, because you know it's hard to find hip hop music, like accidentally, like names and shit. That's almost like. So I was like, what do? I was like, you know who had the dopest hip hop shit? Dave Chappelle show. So I went out to Dave Chappelle DVDs and I looked up all the musical guests he had. And then I realized I really liked Mos Def. He was in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes,
he was in.
You know, he's got a degree from Juilliard.
Oh, I know. I know Mos Def. Most, like I said, I know. He was on the Bill Cosby show. Like, he was on the Bill Cosby Detective show.
You remember his first commercial?
Nope. Sure don't.
It was with Deion Sanders.
It doesn't matter because he's Mos Def. He can do whatever he wants.
The commercial was hilarious, right? He works at a sports memorabilia store.
I remember that commercial.
And Deion Sanders walks in and he starts flipping out. He's like, "Oh my God, you're Deion Sanders. You're this, you're that." He's like, "We got a football signed by you. We got this, we got that, we got da 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 da." So he's like, "Yeah, I'm Deion Sanders." Da da da. He makes a couple purchases and he tries to write a check. He's like, "I'm gonna need a CID."
That's what you're supposed to do. That's right. I don't care who you are. But yeah, so Mos Def is like, he was like my first decision, because I just liked his vibe, because I had known him around. You know what I'm saying? So then. I looked up some tracks, and this is when I also got like all of this stuff like coalesces. Like my first foray into hip hop was when I first started getting into technology as well, because and then I also got into bootleg and stuff. Like, you know, like all the stuff that kind of became what Xavier was known for. It started all at the same time, which, you know, was really cool for me. Like, you know, parallel stuff. So I like that growth. So Mos Def, first track I heard was Definition, and it was just like that the minute the track started.
Shit.
You know what I mean? And then Respiration came. I always tell people, if I can choose a track to play when I die, it's gonna be Respiration. Like, I always feel the most at peace listening to Respiration. Like when he was like, "Oh my God!" When it starts with the new moon rode high in the crowd of the metropolis, shining like who on top of this? People was, oh my God, that flow when it comes in smooth. Oh my God,
that Reflection Eternal
in
album.
The night until she read sunshine. Oh my goodness,
not Reflection Eternal. The Black Star album.
Oh yes, Black Star.
Man,
that's always on rotation. So Mos Def is always in my top 5. I have to say Nas, bro. Nas is just ill for top 5, because we kind of got so sidetracked. So for those of you still keeping tuned, it's Chance the Rapper. For current top 5, Chance the Rapper, Mos Def, Immortal Technique, and now Nas.
You said Wu-Tang too, didn't you?
Oh, and
Wu-Tang said, "Hey, I got all 5.
That's all 5.
And that's actually, so as far as if you want like pure examples of like lyricism and different cultural impact, I suggest those folks. Chance the Rapper for more modern stuff, but he's still real lyrical and real versatile. Wu-Tang for just kind of really see where stuff got started, and they're still the shit. Mos Def, because that was like, you know, in the 90s eras of hip-hop, people say that's the golden age, and I agree with my father. There was no golden age of hip-hop. Like, hip-hop is just kind of, the only thing that lasts throughout the years is the dope stuff, so it's easy to think that the dope stuff was all there was. But,
right.
There was some garbage in the 90s, too.
There
was lots of garbage in the 90s.
But the school of hip-hop in the 90s was lyricism.
Right.
And that's why we know that stuff was garbage. The school of hip-hop, like, mainstream, you know, commercial hip-hop, I should say. Hip-hop as a genre of music. The school of hip-hop as a genre of music in the 90s was lyricism. The school of hip-hop now in hip-hop is actually more instrumentals, which kind of brings it back to how it used to be anyway.
Right,
yeah.
DJing was the most important thing. So it's kind of cool if everything goes in cycles. But
it's like, but even still, it's like right now, I can't even say it's really, like you say, it's the music, but it's still not the element of the DJ.
Well, you're right, but it's also just like it's still about the ability to rock the show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just that now we don't go to disco clubs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like trap music as a whole, like club music is a whole different
It's like
world.
the equivalent of when George was talking about this one day when KRS-One was saying he considers Dougie Fresh one of his favorite MCs.
Dougie Fresh is that's a very fascinating statement to make.
Because he was more speaking on the showman aspect.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know out
lyric
there,
he's an MC, not
rapper.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's speaking on the sense of crowd control.
Yeah, the show,
not on the sense of lyricism.
I was telling somebody about that. I was like, most people don't know that the term MC came from Master of Ceremony, like it literally, and they were like, really? And I was like, it was just. You know, the person, like I said, expediting a service, the person who conducts the show.
Right, move the crowd.
That was
his job, because back in the day, it was all about the DJ.
Right.
So the guy that was talking was to expedite the show, and then he started rapping and shit. So Yeah.
And then somehow along the line, the rapper became the focus.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of moving back to like beats, like you said, not really the DJ, but
Yeah,
definitely
but
the
the
producer.
music,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Definitely the musical.
Because I was like, when I
aspect
was
of it.
pulling up, it was some song I cut on the radio because I was trying to watch you guys on YouTube as I was driving, but it kind of got glitched, and I cut the radio on, and there was like one song where somebody's like,
Yeah, oh my God, Chill Bill. Oh my
But
God,
what's
that joint
funny-
is so ill.
what's funny though is it only has like 2 verses. Then it's like a minute of just the music. And I was
It's
like,
Rob Stone, two
I'm
damn
like,
phones. Oh my God.
who
And then-
left this wide open
But
like
the
this?
remix has Dram on it. The remix they have like the remix is like 7 people on it, and it's just nothing. But
Okay.
I mean, it's not great bars still.
Yeah.
But you know what's really cool? Even though lyrics suck nowadays, flows are amazing. Like people can write a beat like a motherfucker now, like
Yeah.
in a way that they never could back in the day. Like
Yeah.
so like so. That's why Mos Def is dope, because the lyricism was really the focus back then. And then
But he had the combination.
Yeah,
of
Mos
the
Def was just
lyricism
smooth.
and the flow. Like,
Yeah, Mos Def was
never
just
mind that
smooth.
his voice just like
Was velvet.
hugged the track.
Listen, listen.
He knew what he sounded good on.
Mr.
Yeah,
Digitally,
yeah.
come around the main of me. What?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
most was
bro.
just
The
ridiculous.
first time I heard Mos Def was actually through the Bush Babies.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I remember that. I had that
Oh,
album,
wow.
Gravity. It was on the Gravity album.
I have Bush Babies.
Move to the music. You
Yeah.
want.
First
Like,
time
who
I heard
is
him was
this
on
guy?
Stakes is High on the
Oh,
De La
yeah,
Soul joint.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah. Most
First time I heard him was
body
Dave
that
Chappelle
shit too.
show. Like, Dave Chappelle
They the
show.
tongue come through to make you say yes, yes. It be the mighty Mos Def style, fresh like baby breath. That man, Mos was a monster.
Yeah, he still is.
Now you need to
bro.
pay
Still
his
is.
child support.
Yeah, you know. Hey, yo, a step at a time. Once I'm playing, I'm playing.
I'm surprised to
hashtag
not hear.
Black Fathers. Hashtag.
I'm surprised to not hear Kweli in that mix, being such a Mos
Honestly,
fan.
I heard Kweli is an asshole in real
Really?
life. That's what I heard. I heard he's an asshole in real life from folks who know. And I also heard, he just totally just switched up his lyrical flow for no fucking
I haven't
reason.
listened to him in a minute.
Well, don't. Just listen to the stuff you
Really?
have, because
A lot
it
of woke
changed.
people
Like,
do that though.
Nah, he did it early in his career.
No, I'm saying a
though.
lot of.
Like,
I'm saying a lot of woke people
Yo, you're right,
become
you're right.
become that.
assholes.
Yeah, they
I
get
heard,
there.
I heard Common is a jerk. You just really interesting to see. You're right. A lot of people who are real, like you said, woke.
Yeah,
Are just jerks. For
Yeah,
no
I've
reason.
heard that about Common also.
Yeah,
from quite
so
a few
like,
people.
yeah, you know,
Huh.
for people like I respect.
I
Like,
can
yo,
almost
Common
see
is a
that
jerk.
out of
Yeah.
Common, though.
Yeah, but Tyler Quali, you wouldn't expect.
I wouldn't expect that at all.
But honestly, man, I don't. You just never know, folks.
Yeah.
You know, separate from their art sometimes. I
Yeah.
heard Mos Def is really weird at parties. I heard he's that dude at the party that just like kind of stares at people. Like he just sits in the corner, and I can see him doing that.
Yeah.
And for us, we're like, that's Mos Def. That's so cool. But I can definitely see how being at a party and just seeing this nigga in the corner,
Yeah,
like,
like no doubt. I bet. I bet 3 Stacks is a little weird in public.
100%. I
bet
you
that
know what? He's
motherfucker.
probably
He
weird.
probably walk up and give you a wet
Sorry,
willy and then
have
leave.
you still haven't seen the
The
Key
Key
and
and Peele
Peele
sketch.
Nah.
Bro, he was like, let me get. He ordered this crazy drink, and then he was like,
And he wanted it
in a pitcher,
upside down.
in a pitcher with a flower in it. And it was
He's like, and I want it upside down. It's like, yo.
One of them was playing 3 Stacks.
Yeah, but what was funny
one of them was
was
Big Boy, like.
one of them was Big Boy. He was sitting in a Starbucks.
Yeah.
And 3 Stacks comes in, and Andre's like, oh crap.
Yeah, Big Boy's like.
he
damn,
didn't want
here
him
we
to
go.
see him. He was like,
Yeah. He was wearing like a feather and like pirate boots. It was so crazy. He
But
jumped
you
up
know
against,
what? When
like,
you're dope, you can do that.
Also,
Yeah.
Andre 3000 is actually hot as shit. So I really doubt he's probably really chill in person.
He probably is.
Because he's you know, like they used to be like not really involved. They were kind of not involved in like crime stuff, but in a hood lifestyle. You know what I'm saying?
They were
Like,
16 when they dropped their first album.
and
and
they
were
started-
selling dope then.
Yeah, they were selling dope out of their basement. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the dungeon is what they called it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
That's
they-
why
the
it's
studio.
Dungeon Family, yeah.
They recorded and sold out of
At
that
the
same
ti-
building.
Yeah, so like that's so I really doubt he's probably like the coolest person, but yeah, Andre 3000 also gets an honorable mention. I mean, for top 5, he's not my top 5.
Who do you think who are some of the most underrated rappers in the game? You
I
think?
actually dislike that term so hard in the face.
Underrated?
Yeah.
Why so?
Because what determines underrated? Like what determines? Like for example,
MF Doom, I think, would be one of the ones that falls under that category.
I was
let's
gonna
put it like
name him.
this.
I was gonna
Somebody-
name him, but
somebody you
but I still hate
feel-
that term.
somebody you feel
The people
more
don't
people
like.
should hear.
Mick
that
Jenkins,
they aren't hearing.
Mick Jenkins, he's a new cat. Mick Jenkins is dope. If you haven't heard of him, look him up now. Part of the reason he's underrated is because he's so young and new. But like he's actually phenomenal skilled. Mick Jenkins is up. He had a joint called P's and Q's. The music video is cool because he's moving forward, but the music video is moving backwards. Like it's like the music video is on rewind, except for him.
Oh, that sounds.
Childish
crazy.
Gambino did that too.
No, Childish Gambino kept walking in and out the room, and then more people changed into him. He didn't do the video backwards. I know the video you're talking about.
I like Childish Gambino.
Is that the one with like the cars exploding and stuff?
I don't like everything.
And
he
like
does.
cheerleaders with messed up faces.
Nah, that's a different one.
Okay,
that's
yeah, it's one he's got like that.
Well, Mick Jenkins.
Like, I like
check out
Donald
the P's and
Glover a
Q's
lot.
by Mick
Okay.
Jenkins. One, his lyricism is crazy. He was
P's
like,
and Q's.
P's and Q's. He kills that on every level. Like I was watching it with Xavier. Most of my new music I get through Xavier. But
When he says Xavier, I'm just like,
I have a friend.
like, is he pulling a
he was
Dwayne
Tribe.
Johnson?
Xavier was Tribe. He left like right after he joined. He lives.
okay. I know
he
what
lives
you're
in
talking about now.
California now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Real tall
Malik.
dude. Yeah.
No, not
my
Malik.
friend
The
Xavier.
other one, Xavier. Yeah.
I know. You know.
Yeah.
He don't be around. That's why he tripping like that. But yeah. So Xavier puts me on the most because then I'm a snob, so it's hard to get. I have to respect you for me to listen to the music you tell me to listen to.
Yeah.
So, but Mick Jenkins is dope as far as underrated. MF Doom is 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Not only is he underrated, his catalog is exhaustive.
Yeah.
It's so big. He has so much music.
Because he produces too. So
Yeah.
his stuff, he has like days of music accidentally. Like he has his catalog, and a lot of people use his stuff, and people don't even know that. Like
Yeah. Right.
MF Doom's catalog is just
Yeah.
like
Huge.
I remember I put third
He's
base's.
supposed to be dropping a new album next week.
That's what I heard.
I put third base's gas face on a Facebook.
That's a good album too.
I
man.
put it on my Facebook page one day, and I was like, "Yo, look at MF Doom," and people were like, "MF Doom's not in this." MF Doom's. I'm like, how? Where are you?
people are weird.
Like it says Zeb Love X. Like that's MF Doom.
He has like 40 alternate. That's why he wears a mask. Like, so you don't know who he is.
My
He's
first
JJ
experience
Doom.
with him
He's
was
Danger Mouse. Like,
my first experience with him was the Aqua Teen Hunger Force intro.
yeah.
And then I realized that he actually did music, and then
Yeah.
that's when
He
I found the
also-
Danger
he-
Mouse
yeah,
album.
a lot of just to show how hip hop is always kind of the dopest. A lot of underground MCs voiced characters on Adult Swim.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know that. And like then Flying Lotus, his instrumentals were on and there were some of the dopest instrumentals.
Yeah.
you'll
A lot
ever
of them were
find.
bump, like a lot of that bump music they use.
Yeah. So like hip hop is everywhere. Like I always tell people like hip hop is everywhere. People don't even know that.
Yeah.
Like we're all over the place.
I think
real
Fruity
recognized
Pebbles
real.
for that. Fruity Pebbles made all that possible.
Fruity
You'll never
Pebbles.
forget it was when Barney came out dressed like Run DMC.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm the Mr. Rapper and I'm here to sing. Like what?
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the
That was
appropriation.
like, yeah.
He said
That's when it started. That's when it started.
It
the
started
birth
with-
of John
We
Cena.
realized
started
we
in
fucked
Stone
up.
Age.
We realized we fucked up when they came out and Barney and Rubble was
Yeah.
dressed up as Run DMC.
I'm the Mr. Rapper and I'm here to
We were
sing.
like, oh
I've never
fuck.
seen that episode.
You-
It was a cartoon.
It was
It was
a
for the
commercial
cereal.
for the cereal.
I remember that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the time I saw it, it was hella rerun. But
It's like
But-
you saw it on YouTube.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. I know,
when the
right?
Flintstones first started airing, it was a primetime show for adults, like Simpsons.
A
was.
lot of cartoons
I
were.
believe
They used to
though.
come on at night.
A
It
lot
got
of-
nominated for
yeah.
several primetime Emmys too at the time.
believe it.
I mean, you look at Bugs Bunny today. You can tell that was not meant for kids.
Well,
Right.
also it wasn't even just like back in those days, like because TVs are relatively new, like
Yeah,
like
it's
in
less than
history.
100 years old.
Yeah, kids weren't watching TV because kids didn't have like rights back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
kids weren't doing
Rights.
shit. Like it was.
They were working in
like
coal-
rich
kids-
people had TVs.
Back
so
in my day, kids
all-
were working in coal
yeah,
mines.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
Like,
kids
what?
were like expected to
They
go,
were in
like,
the factories making the damn
Yeah,
TV.
They made the
So-
TV.
I always tell people like, yeah, like like most working class people didn't own televisions. Upper class people own televisions.
Yeah.
And so most.
Oh,
like,
Governor, I'd sure love to watch a television one day.
So most entertainment.
Get
was for
back in
adults.
the box now, Jimmy.
I know, right?
Get back in the box.
But it's Christmas, sir.
We don't serve Christmas here.
No Christmas.
No Christmas for you,
You
Jimmy.
monster.
I got
Yes.
this hip hop. I got this hip hop though.
I got it.
We went off,
I got some
went
hip
off
hop
on a
though.
tangent.
Do you have hip hop, sir?
That's funny. It's because
Devil's music.
I know, right? But yeah.
Pardon.
Now, how do you feel? Like, I love seeing the way the hip hop culture has impacted the world. Not just commercially.
Especially when it was considered to be a fad for.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everything was
it's
a
a
fad.
40-year
like
fad.
everything's
But
everything.
when you see, like, when you been a b-boy and you get to see how they treat hip hop in Korea and France.
Oh, it's
and
beautiful.
Germany.
I always tell people the only place black people get respected is Europe. And I said that actually when I was at the African American Museum, not the new one that just came out. I was at some museum. I don't know. I was at the museum. But the first black guy to get a Medal of Honor, he got it in France, and then he came to America, died in a pauper's grave. You know what I mean? So I always tell people the best way to get appreciated doing black stuff is go to Europe. But hip hop, they love hip hop in Europe. They love hip hop, and because it's
Japan too.
Yeah,
huge.
yeah. It's cool. I mean, and then in China, and then in Korea. I don't know if you guys have seen the documentary Planet B-Boy, but
Yeah,
that stuff is like the most heart pounding. There's a scene in it where it was like they did a thematic battle, and they did it where one half of the crew wore red T-shirts, the other half of the crew wore blue, and they represented North and South Korea. So they battled each other, and then at the end they came together and took off their shirts, and they're all wearing the same color shirt. You know what I mean? Like,
which is
powerful.
crazy
That's
because
crazy.
the North Korean cats risk their
Their
livelihood
lives,
to
Right,
do
to-
that,
right.
man.
Yeah, to
And
do
it's
stuff
the
like
same
that.
thing in China. There's a documentary out also on hip hop in China,
Yeah.
and you have to be government approved to rap in China.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
Like,
because they do censorship
There's
real
this
heavy over there.
There's this one dude. He was like a Buddhist MC. I didn't know what this cat was saying.
The original Wu-Tang. What you
But-
mean?
Right.
His flow just had you mesmerized, and they said every rapper they talked to was talking about this dude, but they was like nobody would sign him because everything he says is against the government.
Yeah.
And over there they get sponsors. They don't
Yeah,
get
it's
they don't sign
crazy.
record
Right.
deals.
But
they
then
get sponsors.
But environments like that is where hip hop flourishes. That's why that's why
That's
they
why
identify with it so heavy, because hip hop is.
It's still about rebellion
It's
there.
that
Yeah,
struggle. It's
exactly.
that struggle. It's that battle. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And
It's
so
just the,
when I see
to-
like
to
when I
struggle
see like
against something.
Moroccan MCs and
Yeah.
African MCs like
Yeah, well, you
and the
guys, some people
B-boys
don't
and
know.
German. I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody's heard any rapping in German.
I've heard.
That
I've
is
heard some horrible
That
ones.
sounds obviously I can't
Rappers,
understand what's
yeah.
being said, but you can tell when somebody's ripping the shit
Some
out
of
of a
them,
beat.
yeah.
When you write
You
a
know-
track, you write a track. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
when you
saying?
write, yeah,
Like-
you can write a beat in any language.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Man,
saying? Rhythm is rhythm.
It
Yeah.
sounded amazing, and I was listening to this cat, and he was going in. Next thing, Hook came in, and then the RZA started spitting. And you know
believe
he's
it.
got
I
a very
believe
unique.
it.
It was RZA.
Yeah.
I was like, what? It wasn't in German. He was rapping in English, but I was like,
I
Yeah.
believe
and then it clicked. Wait, this is a woo beat all day long.
He's like, wait a minute. Wait
So,
a minute.
It turns out, yeah, like the Genius and RZA both record quite frequently over in Europe.
Well, yeah,
with
I
European
mean,
artists
because
all
like
the
you said,
time.
like that's the environment where hip hop flourishes, is where people are trying to oppress
Yeah.
something. Like, that's literally what hip hop is, and that's why it becomes so. That's why it's so popular.
Yeah.
Is because it is about that rebellion. So that's why, for example, a lot of people don't know. Zulu Nation recently dissolved, pretty much collapsed, pretty much. But in Europe, they're still rocking.
Yeah.
In Europe, they still have chapters. In Europe, you know what I'm saying? Because the focus for them was always the movement.
Yeah.
So, hip hop in other countries, we're kind of spoiled in America because people say commercialism is so strong here that when hip hop came, it was really easy to snap it up.
Yeah.
Because we're a capitalist economy, but other nations aren't the same economy as us. So it's different.
You just took me back to Planet B-Boy, the way they started up. How it's like businesses looked at each element to see how they could make money off of it.
Right.
And I was just like,
I remember when that Sprite commercial came out. It was like Fat Joe, Common, KRS, and they were all in the Voltron cars.
Yeah.
You remember that
I
commercial?
don't remember that one.
I remember a McDonald's.
It was a whole
commercial.
series of them too.
Oh wow. I'm gonna
Africa Bambaataa drove the black Voltron lion.
Yeah, I do remember that now.
That I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is really, because that for me was the first time it was like, this isn't ours anymore.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
People,
You know what I'm saying?
people see it now.
This is this is a bigger
It's getting
deal.
real.
Sprite is using
Yeah.
rappers that I actually like in their commercial. Bambaataa, KRS, Common, Fat Joe. I can't remember who the other one was.
Probably somebody from the West Coast. Around
I
that
think it
time,
was a
right?
Southern rapper, as a matter
Okay,
of fact.
I
I
was
want to say it
probably
was somebody from the South.
Might have been E40.
Yeah, back when he was cool.
Yeah.
I want to say it was somebody from the No Limit camp.
Wow, might have very.
I
well
want to say it
could
was
have
one of them. Anyway, but hip hop it's gone through so many evolutions from its inception to now. Where would you like to see it go?
I mean, it's kind of going. It's thank God we live in the future now with technology and stuff. Because you can record an album on your phone and then have it on your SoundCloud and then post it on your Facebook
Yeah.
and then
I
everybody
was
and their
just
mom see
telling
it.
somebody
So
that later,
hip hop,
today,
it's art in general is kind of moving, to more user created and controlled content. Where do I want hip hop to go? Like in the same direction it's been going. Stay battling, stay true, stay real, stay love, stay unity. You know what I mean? Stay focused on on trying to put your best positivity out there, and everything else will kind of just stay positive. So I kind of want hip hop to keep going where it's going. I'd like to actually have more old heads talk to more younger cats. I'd like to have more actual educational stuff. Like that Netflix series is actually really dope. I always tell people to recommend it because it breaks down
I didn't check it out.
aspect.
I kind of felt like a lot of times when I see a hip hop documentary, I always walk away from it like, oh well, that was a nice reminder, but I didn't learn anything.
Yeah. I was saying the same thing to her about that. It's not, some of it wasn't new stuff, and some of it I knew stuff that they didn't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, they have actual interviews from actual, you know what I'm saying, just to hear their perspective on things. And it's also, I mean, it is an excellent refresher course, and it will tell you, like, it has a much more well-rounded. It talks about disco.
Okay.
It talks about, and it gets really dope interviews in it. Is they get the rappers and stuff, like they get like Grandmaster Cash, they get people like that, and they ask them where they learned from, and you know what I mean. So like, there's really cool nuggets in there. And it's a really good format. Like they're episodic as opposed to like an hour or 2 hours long. It's like 30, 45 minutes.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then it's breaking down, like, the first one is the beginning. The second one is when it got, like, this first one is like the beginning of hip hop. Second one was, up to like Rapper's Delight. And then I haven't seen the rest of them, but it goes into
I do like that Netflix seems to, it's almost like they have a hip hop department.
You know what?
They do hip hop right
all the
like,
time.
So far,
all
they haven't.
Like,
I'm very impressed with how they've handled.
Well, Netflix does user created stuff really right.
Yeah.
It's really what it is, because a lot of like big name directors aren't doing movies anymore. They're doing Netflix series.
Straight to Netflix.
Like, it's not hip hop, but like Stranger Things.
Yeah,
like that got turned down
everywhere
by everybody, by everyone. They were like, so you wanna
like, why did I do that?
Yeah, now they're all like, what the hell was I
because
thinking?
like Netflix is like the way. Just again, we just like I said, we live in the future now, so it's a much easier thing to be.
Right.
To do stuff on
and
your
it
own.
feeds into the human desire for instant gratification because you get the whole season in that one shot.
time.
And it's completely changed the way we take in.
It's changed. It's
media,
also, and also the little. I always tell people that format makes storytelling better as well, because stuff had to end in a cliffhanger, because otherwise I'm not going to come back next Friday.
Right.
Whereas I can keep the episodes real nice and smooth and flowing.
Right.
In a Netflix series, because the format is we coming back.
Yeah, and something I read about Netflix is when they do have creators that are going to start a series, they don't tell them every episode has to be this length. That's why, like, if you watched Stranger Things, there were episodes that were 30 minutes. There was episodes that was a little over an hour. There was some that were 40 minutes because what was important was the storytelling, not filling this time frame. So what happens on network television is
the time, the commercials.
Right. They end up either A, putting a bunch of crap in the episode that they don't really need for the sake of making it last,
filler,
or they end up having to take out stuff that ends up hurting the story
and
for
then
the sake of staying in that time
we get stuff
frame.
like how, like, walking. When I first heard this, I think I punched the person that told me, like, out of reflex. But somebody was like, "Yeah, the Walking Dead mid-season finale." I was like, that's not even a sentence. The mid-season finale. You know what I mean? Like, the way we get money.
They've made that a new term now.
I know. Like,
and every series
it's
does it.
Literally
See,
wrong.
but that's the
There's
thing.
not a
Like,
finale in the middle. How does that work?
I'm
going to my desert river.
Yeah, I feel you. It doesn't exactly. It's like that's pretty ugly. Well,
Homeland Security.
Which one is it? Right,
but,
Peacekeeper missile.
Yeah, exactly, stuff like that. So,
but yeah, I get that because it's become an industry term
It's an
because
industry,
shows have always had a break in the middle of their
yeah.
season and then come back like a month and a half, 2 months later, but they never called it anything.
Mockingjay Part 1 and 2. Like, now movies have Part 1 and 2s now.
Of the exact
Yeah.
same.
We're big. I'm a big Lord of the Rings head. Big Lord of the Rings head at my house. We got 3 books that took up a movie each, and then we got the shortest book was 3 movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What the hell?
And then
What the hell?
And Harry Potter came out. I think that was the first one to do a Part 1 and 2 for the last one. And then it was like Twilight.
Kill
did a
Bill.
Part 1 and 2. Kill Bill was different. Kill Bill was actually one film, and he was 4
Yeah,
hours
he was
long.
forced to cut
So he cut it in half.
Which the third it's almost up to the 12-year mark.
Yeah, so he's coming out
And
the
the
third one.
third-
Oh, I
third
know.
is gonna drop.
Yep. Yes,
and
it is.
He's
Oh
going
my
to continue it from where the little girl is coming back to give revenge.
Vivica Fox's daughter is
Yep.
going to become a major character.
She's coming
the
back
French
to
chick,
give
The
revenge.
French chick that Beatrix left alive.
I
Inherited.
didn't realize they were doing a third
inherited all of
installment.
Bill's money,
Yeah.
and so she took in Vivica Fox's kid.
Yeah, but I feel
Bill's
you. It's
money.
like it's all about, like you said, how can we make money off of this?
Exactly.
And now it's no longer
It's moving. It's
Right.
becoming easier to move away from.
unless a movie can be franchised. Studios don't want to fuck with it.
Yeah.
It's like, and I can't remember the last time there was an original concept.
And it's not even
in a
like,
film
and
here
it's not
lately.
even just that, but it's like, it's so many so many big names saturate the market so much that it's actually really easy to not notice other films coming out. So it's like, like, oh, these are the only movies coming out. Well, actually not. There's 1,000 film festivals. There's 1,000, which is why the internet's so cool. But the people who own the internet aren't. Like, that's why there's different debates.
And not to keep
now.
bringing it back, but Netflix tends to have a lot of independent films,
Exactly.
films you've never heard
Because
of with actors that are
Netflix-
really good movies.
Because Netflix makes their money at the upfront. You
Right.
pay, $8.
It's almost like
$8 a month,
Netflix. Netflix is like the venue version of media. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty much.
They,
User
like,
created content.
because you can go out and buy a J. Cole or a Kendrick album, but I want to hear a Seven album. I want to hear an Andre Taylor album. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of that same thing. You can go to the movies and pay $12 to see a movie by Universal Studios, or you can go on Netflix and watch a movie by a studio you ain't never heard of. You know what I'm saying? With some dope.
Be dope.
And it'd be dope.
Like
Don't Breathe. I know you don't do horror for real.
I haven't.
I still want to see that.
What an
I heard it was
incredible
good.
movie.
I plan on seeing that.
What an amazing
If only
film.
because no black people die in it. I was
Well,
like,
there's no black people in it. But.
Exactly.
You know what? Have I given you my theory on why black people are the first people to die? You heard that poem, right? Okay.
Because they're the smartest ones. You gotta take them out first.
Yep.
I hear you. I hear you. But I was just like, yo, Don't Breathe. By the way, spoiler alert. Now I'm playing. But
no, Don't Breathe was genius.
Yeah, so
genius
it's great.
film.
I can't wait.
And it's an original story. It wasn't a book first. It wasn't, a short film that they decided to expand on. It wasn't a comic book. And I can appreciate that.
But yeah, honestly, I secretly plan on like writing everything. Like you asked me earlier, like, do I plan on becoming like, like a world-renowned poet or something like that? And it's like, yeah, but I also like this word stuff. Like, it's I consider myself a storyteller above all. So like I'm always working on other things. Like I'm writing. I'm working on like novels. I'm working on screenplays. I'm working on this poetry stuff. Honestly, like this is like I've been planning this for a long time. I've been planning this for years. Like during chemotherapy, I would sit up and plan. You know what I mean? Like I would read comic books, listen to hip hop. That's how I know I know more hip hop than people, because I literally had hours to listen to hip hop. That's how I know more comics, because I did nothing but hours of comic books because I was too sick to do anything else. So I've been planning stuff for years. So this poetry thing is actually like it's part of my master plan. I'm just trying to get attention. Like if I can get people to pay money to hear me talk, imagine what happens when I start coming out with books. Imagine what happens when I start coming out with films. You know what I mean? It's also a great way to network, because I'm like you said, I kind of appeared out of nowhere. I kind of just be around. Like I got this show coming up in February at NSU. There's a group called Urban Control. They're like a theater/performance group, so I fit right in with them. Right. I kind of hang out with them a lot, helping them out in the background and stuff, because I did theater a lot for a while in high school and a little bit afterwards. But they have a show called Love vs. Lust. I'm performing a piece there. They're doing a concert. They're real dope. February 25th, NSU. I'm sharing my stuff on Facebook and stuff, but I'm performing a piece that I wrote there. This is the one I called in and did a little bit of it a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Nobody's gonna hear that full piece until you go to that show. So you have to go to that show if you want to hear that piece. So yeah, I kind of just be around. So I'm really just trying to like you said, like if I couldn't find this world, I was gonna create it. And now that I found this world, I have other worlds I'm trying to create. So I need to be in as many other worlds as possible. So I'm trying to be around. I'm trying to just really learn and study the hands of different people, meet different folks, expose myself to different energies, and then kind of just create something with all that. So stay tuned, man. This is just the beginning. It's going to be exciting
stuff. You are certainly on your way. And I can't think of any better way to close out this week's episode than with that lovely inspirational thought right there. So again, thank you, Internet, for listening in. Thank you, Xavier, for being here. India, thank you for being the sidekick this evening.
Thank you for not sneezing on the microphones for the people.
I know.
Yeah.
You see I'm wiping my nose over here like
she been sick the whole time. That's why I didn't introduce her earlier.
All right, tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah. Also come to the venue.
Next week is the concept.
Yes, come to the venue.
Next week is the concept.
Oh, that's gonna be a dope show.
Which concept? THA concept.
THA concept.
Yeah.
Hey, that's my man's. We go back. Call I'm gonna be on that jump. I'm gonna call in.
Word up.
All right.
All right.
And remember, ladies and gentlemen, always we do what we do
because we includes you.
Yes.
Good night, Internet.